Well, good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to be back. George Morgan here at your service. It's PSGL, it's Wednesday night, it's Spain tonight as well. Lots on the table, lots of battling. The title contest is still alive and kicking. And Jack, it's only taken us 10 rounds. We're on the 11th. It's all to play for.
Boromant goes on the inside and takes the lead on the final lap of the race. Now it's side by side between Boromant and Warner, but Boromant's got the inside.
Literally a guest star here in this phenomenal race. Cameron Dowd looking to take P2 in his very first PSGL F1 PC race. Incredible to say the least. You see that Putin to lead. 1.5 seconds. DRS is the name.
Takes the lead on the final lap of the race.
A new season is upon us finally. Welcome along to PSGL Season 36, the top tier on PlayStation. It's been a while since myself and James have been in the commentary box, but we've got 11 races of fun-packed action for you lot to be entertained on a Monday evening. We're going to be starting off in Albert Park in Melbourne. More information about the calendar and lineup in just a moment. My name is Jess Ball, and joining me once again, like I just said a moment ago, for the whole season, is Mr. James Head. James, welcome, and how excited are you for Season 36?
Very, very excited. Good evening to everyone on YouTube. Good evening everyone to Twitch. I am very much pumped, I've got to say, coming into tonight. On paper, it's the most wide open that I think we've ever had in PSF1. Aurelian missing, Cameron Dowd's missing, both taking sabbaticals. Gives a good chance for Marcos and Volokongan perhaps come into the fray. We've got returning drivers. We've got 5 drivers from F2, 2 drivers from F3. What more do you want?
Exactly. It's great to see quite a few drivers that have been promoted from the tier above as well. It just goes to show the improvement they have shown in PSGL since they first started. I remember some of those drivers were as low as F5 or F6 at one point. So great to see them progressing through PSGL up through the ranks, and who knows, they might be in PT one day. But James, you said we got 5 F2 drivers and a few F3 drivers, and the rest are all returning drivers. James, do you want to talk us through the lineup that we got this season?
Let's have a run through, shall we, of the grid that we've got here tonight, and indeed, of course, for the rest of the season. So in the Sauber, not the Alfa Romeo, in the Sauber, it is GL Gil and F Savinar Flotman in the Sauber, NLR Stefano and NLR Gustav, that's Radadal in the AlphaTauri, Yossi and TF10 Marios, F3 champion coming in for the first time in F1 in Alpine, Aston Martin represented by Jeroen and Justin, Ferrari have got Keke and Tim as part of their lineup, and then it is Nuth and Ian Van Unen. I think that's a very strong lineup for Haas. Erpek and Matteo, the young guns in the and Ryan in the Williams. Reserve drivers, by the way, for tonight, there are 3 drivers missing. Ian Van Unen, the Haas, has been replaced by M. Sapala. Rens Thomason is in for NLR Justin in the Aston Martin. Look forward to seeing how he gets on tonight. And Baki, the F1 Esports Challengers man, replaces Shazoo Kazizel in the Mercedes. Kazizel having exam preparation, I believe. So good luck on his exam preparation.
Yes, good luck to Kazizel, of course. We've got the likes of, obviously, Marcos, who was very close to a championship a few seasons ago. Volokongan, who pretty much got the win in Bahrain, but had it taken away due to a steward's penalty, and that allowed, Borak is actually in the chat on Twitch, actually. How are you doing? Who took his first PSGL PSF1 win. I'm really excited for this as well. I'm particularly keeping my eye on Matteo. We've seen previous F2 champions do very well in the past. We talk about Mr. Van Bussel, of course. Lots of other F2 champions like Rudy, for example, Tyker Hardy. I need to keep referring to himself as Tyker Hardy, but there are just so many great names in this, and some names that we may have not have come across as well. That in F3 as well that could be up there. They're here for a reason. Remember what happened in Season 33? We didn't expect Max to do well, who was in F3. He went on to become Season 33 champion. So you never know, James. We could see an F3 driver become an F1 champion by the end of the season.
Definitely so. I think anything is perceivably possible, I think, coming into F1 this season. As I say, it's probably the most wide open I think we've had. I've probably said that every single season I've been a PSF1 commentator, but it is on paper the widest open field that you will ever see. As I say, there's no Aurelian, no Cameron Dowd. So there is a real opportunity, I think, for somebody on this grid to put themselves in light Matteo looking potentially at him. Urpek. I think F7R Yossi is the forgotten man this season as well in the Alpine. I do not want to put pressure on the Swiss man whatsoever, but we are going to get going very soon out on track. I think we're missing one more driver in the lobby, which gives us a good chance, though, to look at just the calendar, of course, for the rest of the season.
Yes, indeed. And a few tracks were picked by the drivers. They had a poll on X, Twitter. We always like to call it Twitter. So there were some tracks that were picked by the drivers and some that were already picked. So, first of all, round number 1, as I was saying earlier, we head to Australia. Lovely track. Last time we were here, season 32, a long time ago. Then we head to one of the first of the fan-voted tracks, Belgium, on the 26th of February. Not that long to go. Then we head to a track which I love commentating on. It is at the Principality Monte Carlo, Monaco. I think I missed Monaco last time out. I'm so glad I get to cover it this time, so I'm glad I'm not missing it. Then we head to Austria on the 11th of March. I believe that was another fan-voted track, well, driver-voted track. Then we got Canada on the 18th of March, France on the 25th of March, Portugal on the 1st of April. That is during Easter weekend. I really do hope that weekend doesn't get cancelled because myself and James love commentating on Portugal. Then we got Azerbaijan on the 8th of April, Netherlands on the 15th of April, Brazil on the 22nd of April, and Texas on the 29th of April. So that is your calendar for season 36. And you probably noticed, where's the break week? Well, James, there's no break week. So the drivers have got to be on their A game for the entirety of these 11 rounds.
Yeah, no break week whatsoever. And I think that is in relation potentially to what was leaked out over the weekend in terms of F1 24. We're not at liberty to say much about F1 24 going forward, but if the rumours are true, then this season will end about a month ahead of F1 24 obviously being released. But that calendar, I think, is absolutely stacked. Let's be honest. Portugal on April Fool's Day is going to be very, very interesting indeed. Hopefully, Portugal will not be the pauper in the pack in terms of the calendar. But honestly, Monaco, Austria, Canada, France, just to name a few, going forward. And then Brazil, Texas as well, the season finale potentially, where we could crown that champion. Could well be Volakongan, who of course wrapped up the F2 title in season 32. So we could get finally that title that he so richly deserves here in F1. But in the foreground, Australia is going to be very much an interesting track, I think, here tonight. It is one of the tracks where I've done well at it in the past, I'll be honest, in my league racing career, but these drivers are the focus tonight, not us certainly in the comment box, not us in terms of our preparation and everything going around here, but it is sure to be a very good night's worth of action, and you guys have got the best seats in the house.
Yes, you do. I'm looking in the chat, by the way, James. Apparently Cameron forgot to sign up, so that's why he's not racing. So who knows? He may sign up again in mid-season sign-up, but the turnaround for sign-ups was quite quick, and if you blink it or you miss it. So there we go. So we talked about the drivers. We talked about the calendar. Let's talk about the track, shall we? Australia's the first track. First season Formula 1 in 1996. Last time we were here at PSGL was season 32. All of these drivers that raced there who were your top 3, they're all PC now. So they moved from PS to PC. We've all commentated on him in the past. Legend Rosenberg took victory from Valentino Labella, which is Athercombe, which I didn't know until James told me in off stream like 5-10 minutes ago. And then Tiger Hardy, who went on to become champion, I think on season 32, finished in 3rd. Other notable race winners around here: Wilson Hughes, season 27, Jarno Opmeer, season 25, Matthias Van Erven, season 23. You get the picture, they're all F1 esports drivers. And I also see a certain 7-time PSGL champion plus the top dog at PSGL take victory in season 21. Yes, it's Mr. Big C that took victory when we were first here season 21. Sam Corby in 2nd. And Augie Azim in 3rd. That's a throwback and a half, isn't it, James?
It is a throwback and a half. I was probably in diapers, to be honest, when season 21 was coming around. Big C did a fantastic job, by the way, in that season. And I mean, he is in a very much an illustrious role of honour there with Matthias Van Erven, Jarno Opmeer and Wilson Hughes all taking a win. I think Big C honestly could just take that for granted and just be like, yeah, I want to get in F1 esports next season. That'll be the experience that he definitely has. Very much an old god. He is Big C. Season 32 as well, Legend Rosenberg. The last time we came here, as you mentioned, now a PCF2 driver. He is definitely going to be one to watch out for in the PSGL PC tiers. However, though, I am delighted to say, finally, after a bit of rambling on, we're about to get started out on track. It looks as if we are missing one driver in terms of the lobby, and that driver, as I scroll through the Discord chat, I believe is... I don't know who it is. Give me a second.
I don't know.com is what James was about to say around this track. But let's have a look at the track map before we head to qualifying. This is the Albert Park circuit, 5.418 kilometers, 3.366 miles. Race distance at 133.062 kilometers, and we have 2 DRS detection points, which should make things even more interesting. So we're about to get underway with 19 drivers. So I'm just trying to see who's missing. I can't tell myself, so it might be people still trying to get into the lobby. But you can't see it at the moment, James, but it's absolutely sunny here at Albert Park today.
Yeah, it's bone dry here in Australia, which is really good. I think it's like F2 qualifying. If you didn't catch F2 qualifying a little bit earlier on, that was bone dry as well. Bone dry, of course, for the race there as well. Hopefully we might get that here. But Australia does like to throw up a bit of rain here and there as well. Do not be surprised if you see any of that. Judging by all the drivers coming out on track right now, I think we're in for a dry race, and I think we're in for... Gilles, by the way, is just about to start up on a lap. If you are wondering if we are not on mute, hopefully we're not now. Gilles is just starting up on a lap, coming now through the left-hander of turns 1 and 2, down in towards Whiteford corner at turn number 3. Currently they're down in 19th position, looking to try and get a good lap time on the ball. Coming through Whiteford corner at 3rd gear, coming through here, then 4th coming through the left-hander turn 4, and then through the right-hander turn number 5, where Vettel famously spun off and lost his front wing in 2010 around here as Gilles comes through the first sector split, 26.6 through the first sector, not looking too bad at all. Rides the curve very nicely. Now coming down Lakeside Drive, my favourite part of the track as well. DRS detection zone is in operation around here. Of course, 4 DRS detection zones around this track as well. And GL now coming through this middle sector split, and it is a 44-1 in the middle sector. Now through the tricky left-hander of turns 9 and 10 through the chicane. Very neatly done by GL, the old master, showing how it's done so far here in Australia as he now comes in toward the right-hander of turn number 11, and then in toward the right-hander of turn number 12. You can ride on the outside curb, not picking an invalidation coming through there. Now through turn 12, hitting the traffic there, coming in towards 13 and 14, gets away from the Haas, but locks up as a result going through turn 13. He got caught actually on his front right tyre with a bit of grass. Now through the final corner, on the run to line for GL, a 16.166 even was the pole time, and it's a 16.9 from GL, even off that mistake at turn 13.
Yes, luckily I've seen in the chat that people can hear, and that is why you should test before you go on, which I thought I did, but I didn't. But at least it's all sorted for next week now, which is all good. So, Markelot's currently fastest. You can see the difference in times right now. It is the opening round of the season. most of these drivers have not raced together before, so it's going to be a bit of a learning curve for some of these guys, especially drivers who you won't expect to be racing up against the top. Let's go on board with Matteo, who is your F2 champion from last season. I expect big things from this man, and he's definitely showing big things now as he goes top with a 116.356, and the F2 champion from season 34 has retired from the session, and he's retired in the pit lane. So that is interesting. We got our reserve of Renz. Oh, he binned it. Okay. He binned it somewhere in the final corner. And we got Renz, who's our reserve tonight, 116.2. Backy's backed off. He's invalidated. We've got Cipolla, who's invalidated as well. Quite a few invalidations. There's a lot of corners that pretty much, if you get it wrong, it's not going to help you throughout your lap. There's a lot of camber corners, and there's a lot of corners which requires a well-balanced setup. Of course, you may need the top speed for turns 9, but you need a downforce in certain tracks. So sometimes you have to compromise one or the other. So that's why balance is important. I did say that whilst I was speaking earlier, but you guys didn't hear me. So we've got Renz out on top, Matteo second, Marcos in third. And that is all the laps so far. And we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 drivers who have not set a lap. But for Erpek, not the start of the season that he wanted.
Not the start of the season that he wanted at all. Erpek, I think, was probably one of the favourites, arguably, coming into tonight as well. And him with Matteo going quickest, and then Erpek spinning coming through the final corner. He got caught, I think, on the outside curb. The wheel basically on the right-hand side where the wall is. So I can only assume he's got caught on the outside curb, and the floor is basically bottomed out on the curb. As now Marios has actually retired, coming now through the right-hand return number 11. And that is actually on a down lap, I think he's retired.
I see it.
So there he's down in 17, Ferrari just going through camera shot, Backy just about to go camera shot as well, and that is on the right-hand side, on the left-hand side of your screen, coming through turn number 11. That's a weird one. He must have had a brake failure or something maybe coming through there.
He must have, and to be honest, it's really easy to get your car stuck around that corner. Some people have their cars absolutely beached around there, so it is a bit of a shame for Marios as well. I also had good things for him as well, but you know, it is what it is in Australia, unfortunately. And a few of these drivers are going to be going in to the pit lane. And we have asked James some thoughts about the season for a lot of these drivers. And we got Volakonga, who's on his outlap at the moment. According to him, he said he's not expecting too much from this circuit. His season went better than expected last season. And he doesn't think he ever scored points in the first race of the season, so you'll be happy with a top 10. And he said he's prepared quite a bit for today. So that is Volakongan's thoughts going into this evening's race. And after Bahrain, well, he's going to be happy with that. He could be one of the top contenders. He was one of 2 drivers that the social media team have put on X as 2 predictions for the title. We have also got predictions from social media as well, James, as to who people thought is going to claim to get the title.
Yeah, don't think you can get away on social media and not have me absolutely looking over an hour before the race and just seeing some of the predictions going in on the PSGL Twitter. F7L Francesco going for Erpek. Well, we've already seen how Erpek's out of the session, so that is looking a little bit unlikely. Maxi I know is in the chat and said it's time for TF10 Markedos to beat us. Markedos there currently in 3rd in qualifying. Aurelian says Flopman potentially ready for the title. So Champion giving the Frenchman a good boost there. Frankie from Veloce Academy going for F7R Euron. And then Ice, who is a former Outplayed Racing man, Marcus Iauno, and he's already out the session as well, the Alpine. Max, by the way, also saying in the YouTube chat, what is my man saying brake failure like it exists on this game? What I mean is brake failure in terms of the equipment, like maybe like a pedal going or something. That's what I meant in that. Completely taken out of context. And just for a bit of thought, actually, on our champion, on our current race leader, Gil, by the way, 2 turns up in the middle sector, looking good on his lap. Renz Thomason, he said his main goal this season is to take a win and will not work, and he will work very hard to get that. And he didn't prepare how I wanted because he's been on vacation. Well, come back from vacation and you're 10th and a half up on everyone else. Some vacation it must be.
Well, if you're going to be fast when you finish your vacation, then that's very impressive for the Aston Martin driver. But he's not Aston Martin for the entirety of the season. GL Gill is up to the line, and he's going to be a 1:16.4, which puts him into P5. So the F1 champion from season 26 has still got it. Marcos is 2,000th down in the middle sector as he heads towards this this straight here as well. You're going to be going full power as you head towards turn 11 and 12, and that's where we see people beach it before as well. We've got a few more people going up to the line as Ride It Out is in 4th spot at the moment, and I think a few other people across the line too. Volakongan only in 7th, and we've got Marcos who's going to come up to the line. Now, what can he do? Can he go fastest out of anyone? The answer to that is no, but he's only a few hundreds slower than Renz right now, and it just looks like that we know who our 20th driver is. Enel Stefano was missing, so he's just joined the lobby.
I'm glad he has joined the lobby, to be honest, because otherwise he'd be missing out on a very good qualifying session so far. There's 8 minutes to go in the session, so he can get a lap time in. Whether or not he's allowed to within the rules and regulations, though, is a different thing. Ice, by the way, saying his pedal's disconnected. That's exactly what I was thinking. Him being off camber, Marios coming through turn of 11, instantly thought maybe a brake failure in terms of his equipment. That's indeed what it was. Renslow out on top, Marcos in second. Marcos, by the way, his middle sector, very, very poor. Did not have anything. We've got an illegal blocking penalty by the current race leader.
You know what that means?
Holstetter and Rens Thomason. That means, of course, we get that mandatory restart, of course, that is in operation. Marcos, though, back to my point about him, he was in second position, and he was down in that middle sector, quite consistently down in that middle sector, lost a 10th and a half through that middle sector. He can sprint through that middle sector and get a 43.8 like Mateo's just done, but he's invalid on lap time. Marcos will be there or thereabouts in terms of Renz. Renz, by the way, just starting up on a lap as well, and I'll give you what his first sector is very shortly.
Yes, we'll see what his sector 1 is as he heads towards turn 3 and 4. Now, DB Cat, you don't want to go wide like that in the race because they get an instant 5-second time penalty. So the drivers have been warned about that in the stewards, of course. He's a few 100ths down in the first sector, so he is not improving quite a bit at all. So he may be saving all of his time for the final lap. There is quite a lot of drivers that may not be able to improve. We've got Gustav, also known as Rydal, who's a few attempts up in the middle sector, so he's looking like he's going to be on a great improvement as well to push him up through the field, maybe challenge for pole position as he exits the final corner in that AlphaTauri. And as someone's gone off, I think there was one of the Ferraris has gone off there, but Gustav up to the line. Third place, still quite tight between these guys as well. We got the Red Bulls up to the, well, we got Estefan up to the line. We got Cipolla into 4th spot. What can Stefano do? F7R. Stefano. What a lap from Renz, 1:16.096. He is now fastest. He is the man to beat. And we've beaten the F2 pole time, I believe.
Yes, we have. We have by about 500ths of a second, I think, in the end. Renz out on top. My reaction, by the way, was for him on his lap. He ran wide, coming out of turn number 11, got caught on the grass with his rear left tyre. I don't know how that is an improvement. He made a really bad mistake coming through there. And that just comes to show, if he makes a mistake like that, of that significance, he has got a 15.9 in him for absolutely sure. Marcos and Gustav really need to get on with things. Cipolla there in 4th as well, reserve. We've got 2 reserves currently in the top 4 as it stands. The other reserve, of course, being further down the field. But at this stage, Renz out on top, Marcos second, Gustav there in 3rd. Renz has got good form around this track, albeit from elsewhere. He has got very good form around this track, though. Marcos second, Gustav there in 3rd. Drivers on an outlap include, by the way, Volakongan, who is out of sync compared to everyone else. 11th position for the Norwegian right now. P3, of course, in the standings last season. How is the man and P11 going to do here in qualifying? Everyone pretty much around a 16.3, 16.4. So Volakongan ideally needs to find a 16.2 just to ensure that he's safe going into the top 5, going into the end of qualifying.
Tim had a bit of a slide there heading towards the final corner. He was up, but he's definitely lost time in the final sector. So that's going to compromise him, but only 4th. That would have been, I think that would have been pole. That would have been pole for Tim if he didn't have that slide. The amount of time that you lose is absolutely significant. Backy, by the way, 2 laps on the softs. Well, I could tell that he's not going to use some softs in the race then, because otherwise, why would you be going on 2-lap-old softs? But he's gone 6th, so he wanted a warm-up lap, and then he went on the push lap, and he absolutely nailed it. Gil is on a run now. I didn't see what his sector 2 time was, but this Middle Harbour sector 3 is looking really good for the Sauber driver. I keep saying the other team name, but I shouldn't really do that because I'm not allowed. But anyway, Gil goes into the pit lane, so let's just watch Volakongan on his lap. I didn't see his sector 2 either, so...
3,000.
All right, so it's not that much of an improvement for Volakongan, but just look at the gap, James, between 1st and, I would say, 15th. It just takes little margin these days with this PSF1 grid just to get a good lap in for pole.
It does. Volakongan coming through that middle sector. I'm just on board with him. He's just rolled on that curve coming out of turn number 10. And that loses him all the time, all the way through turn number 11. He's nice coming out of turn number 11. And Volakongan now beginning to try and hit a little bit of form. Now coming into the left-hander at turn 13. And then through cross corner at turn number 14. Renz, Markados, Gustav currently out on top. Volakongan now through the final corner on the run to the line. I think it'll be an improvement. It'll be a very minimal one at that. He improved 16.3. 10th and a half improvement. That was a very good final sector. If he can back that up with a very good first sector, Volakongan could be right up there in terms of qualifying as well. We've got other drivers on that lap right now. Flopman, Yossi, who is possibly one of my favourites for pole position here tonight. He's down in 13th right now, so it comes to show that I'm not going to be picking the lottery numbers this week. Yossi there down in 13th. Jeroen Keki on a lap time. And then, of course, the man who has picked up 515 career points in his PSGL career in NLR Nuth, right down in 16th position. Ever the fabled, a multiple-time PSGL champion, down in 16th position right now. How is he going to fare? A 17 flat, definitely not respective of his lap time. He's just coming out of the pit lane right now. But Mercedes first out on track, and Aston Martin and Alpine following on suit in behind.
Yes, it's time for you in the chat to get predictions in on Twitch and on YouTube. Who do you think is going to be getting pole for today's Australian Grand Prix? Is it going to be Renz? Is it going to be Markados? Is it going to be Gustav? Is it going to be Tim? Or is it going to be someone else? Could we see Yossi, James's prediction, get up there? Could we see the likes of Matteo go from 9th to maybe pole position? And Mubarak in the chat in Twitch saying Renz, 1,000,000% no doubt. Well, he's looking very, very confident. It's not going to be Volakongan as he's retired. But for everybody else, it's time to go full guns a-blazing. And as I like to call it, the calm before the storm. So get your predictions in. Who's going to be pole and potentially what the pole time is. And James will read your comments in the live chat. I've got the chat up myself, but I'm going to be concentrating on the action and leave my co-com to look at the chat now and again as well. That's why we have a good relationship there as well. Who's going to be just about starting a lap? It will be, I believe, one of them. It will be Flopman as well. Flopman did very well last season. Definitely deserved that promotion into F1. He was the one who caught my eye. There was a few races where he potentially bottled the chance for a race win, but he was very consistent in a lot of races last season. Past turn number 5. Not the best of sector ones right now, but he's still a few 100s up. So that could have been quicker for the Sauber driver as he exits in towards turn number 9. It's a very long straight coming up. We've also got a Aston Martin who's on a lap. No, he might be on an out lap, actually. Or is it Jeroen? No, it's Jeroen who's on the lap. My bad. So Jeroen on the lap. His teammate is on a out lap. So pass in towards turn 10 and now in towards turn 11 and 12. Flicks the car very nicely. Let's see if he can do it. Oh, he just about avoids getting invalidated lap. That would have been, I think, very, very tight for Flopman. It's not much of a skill gap between the previous F2 drivers and the F1 drivers, it looks like, as Ryder has retired from the session. But Flopman, can he beat a 1:16.0 to put himself onto provisional pole position? The answer to that is no, but that was a very good lap. I'll let you take through the rest of qualifying, James.
Yeah, Markados is 4,000s up in the first sector, so he might be setting the timing screen to like coming through the middle sector. We've got a Red Bull and a Ferrari coming through the final corner. Yossi goes P3, and Markados is fastest out of everyone in the middle sector. So Markados is definitely cooking up something good. They're in P4 right now. Flopman obviously down a lap. Renz, crucially, is down on lap time as well. So this is open to anybody further through the field to try and get an improvement. Baki improving, 500 top. Zolza now on the run to the line. The FER man, the new NLR man, in fact, goes there into 7th. Good lap time there from him. We've got a Williams now on the run toward the line as well. I think that's NLR Ryan to the line. He goes 11th. Markedos now to the line. He's 500 up, trying to find a bit of time. Does he find the time? No, he doesn't. He goes 3rd in the end, ahead of Mateo. Flopman obviously down. Ren's 3,000 off his pole lap, by the way. Very good lap time from him in the end. NLR Tim is 8,000 down. Baki is the one improving the pole now. Coming through the final corner on the run to the line. Does he improve? Only to 9th position. GL Gilles now coming through the final corner on the run to the line. He goes 13th. I think that's pretty much qualifying done. NLR Tim goes 2nd. Huge final sector from him. The Austrian there going into 2nd. It is Rens Thomason, though, out on top. He's a reserve. He's a bit like Cameron Dowd from last season. Rens Thomason out on top. Tim in 2nd. Flopman there in 3rd. And in the end, Markedos 4th. Mateo rounding off the top 5. Marios, by the way, reporting in Discord that he's got issues with his pedals and he doesn't want to ruin anyone's race, so he will leave the lobby. And that, I think, is great sportsmanship from him because he doesn't want to ruin anyone's race.
That is a shame that we don't get to see him racing for the first time in PSF1, but sometimes you got to play it safe. You do not want to be the reason that the race is ruined, and you don't want to get a race ban from PSGL. So the best thing to do is to try and fix it and make sure you're ready for next week. So qualifying is now done, and only a few people have improved on their lap times. And it is Renz out on top. And we're back. Predicted Renz for pole position. So he's got that right. He knows well at the moment. And he said Renz deserves to be in F0, his own tier, apparently, which is interesting in the chat. But anyway, let's run through your order as Renz out there on top. Tim in 2nd. Flopman in 3rd. Markedos in 4th. Mateo in 5th. Yossi in 6th. Gustav in 7th. Zorzo, who was 3rd in F2 last season, did very well in 8th. Then we got Baki in 9th, Cipolla in 10th. We got Ryan, Volokong and Gil, Stefano, Jeroen, Noof, Stefano. They were the ones who did laps. Keke Peck did not say a lap time, and like we said, Marios is not going to be taking any further part in this session due to his broken pedals. So, before we head to us rambling on a bit more about certain drivers, let's have a quick word from our title sponsor, GT Omega. Welcome back to PSGL PSF1, round number 1 in Australia. And we had a fantastic qualifying. We definitely missed this, didn't we, James? It was probably really, really close to start off the season. And even the ones who got promoted did a great job, which just goes to show the placements were done very nicely as well. But there were a few surprises and a few disappointments, unfortunately, from certain drivers. But they got plenty of time to make it up during the race.
They have indeed. There's obviously 29 laps in this race, and normally around this track, I would say it's DRS train central, and I think we are going to be getting that big old DRS train. So any movement, I think, throughout the field, especially the further down you are the grid, the more difficult it is to try and overtake. It could be the case here. But for the guys up top, Renz, Tim, Flopman, the top 3, they're going to be loving life right now. They're going to be very, very pleased with their result in qualifying. Markedos there in 4th, Mateo there in 5th. Young Gun, between them, by the way, every single driver on the grid in PSF1 this season, 76 career wins, 200 podiums, and 4,304 career points picked up in their PSGL career. And 515 of those were NLR Noof, so I'm just going to throw it out there. In terms of the combined statistics, though, I think it is going to be really good in terms of the racing out on track. Renz obviously loves this track. Tim loves this track as well. Hopefully, we are going to get some really good racing out on track. You guys have got the best seats in the house, but of course, we have to ramble on a little bit.
Yeah, we did, and we're rambling on even more earlier on as well, which was quite interesting as well. But yes, I mean, there has been some surprises. We do know that in PSF2, we saw a variety of different strategies. we saw one driver who went onto the soft compound tyres at the start of the race. And it wasn't that recommended from a lot of drivers. A lot of people either started on the mediums or the hard compound tyres. But in our notes, they're going hard to softs. So, I mean, it's going to be tough starting on the soft compound tyres, but they can do it. Early safety cars could help them a little bit as well. But it depends also where you are in the grid. If you're lower down in the grid and if you start on the soft compound tyres, you're really going to try and struggle to get past the medium runners because there's certain places where you just can't really overtake much and it could be absolutely chaos. But it's going to be interesting to see what strategies drivers go on for today.
Definitely so. I don't think we're going to see a scenario as per 2002 where Barrichello went on the top of Ralf Schumacher. I don't think we're going to get the scenes as we did there. But it is a really interesting track. Obviously, we've got that long back straight with that big DRS zone as well. 4 DRS zones, of course, around this track, so it does promote a lot more overtaking on this game. It is the only track, I think, on the F1 calendar on this game cycle that has got 4 DRS zones as well. So will produce a lot of good racing, I've got to say, out on track. Judging by what happened in F2, the man who went on a set of soft compound tyres didn't even end up in the top 3. And I'm not telling you who it is because you'll probably just go and find out anyways. But the guy in the set of softs didn't end up even getting in the top 3 in the end. So a bit of disappointment there from him. And in our notes, in terms of the medium compound tyres, I think they are honestly the tyre to be on. Going on to around lap 12, lap 13, then pit for a set of hards. We could see hards, mediums as well. I think those are going to be the 2 chosen strategies from everyone on the field. Do not be surprised though, Jess, if you see everyone on a white wall compound tyre. Yeah.
I think the hard compound tyre, if you watch PSGL PSF1, it is always the common strategy to be on. There's quite a few races where pretty much everybody goes on the hard compound tyres with only a few on the mediums. We have seen a few outliers, Volakongan being one of them. I know Jeroen, I think, did soft 1 race as well last season. For some of them it can work, and for some of them it cannot as well. And for some people that may be used to doing different strategies in lower divisions, they're probably going to try and find one that suits them with this high caliber drivers. There's quite a few drivers like Renz were saying that it's going to be a huge step going from F3 main driver to F1 either as a full-time or as a reserve, and obviously he feels ready for the season as well. And there's quite a few drivers in F2 and F3 that want to score some points on debut. They're lowering their expectations a little bit. They don't want to get too big a points too early because otherwise they could be contact. But we have seen some surprises before, like I was saying, Max season 33, for example. So for some people, they're setting their expectations low. We've got all 19 drivers in the lobby, so I think we're just waiting for Ryan to set the grid and then we can get going.
We can get going indeed, even. Tim, by the way, in the Discord, I will fail over my words definitely here tonight. Tim, by the way, saying in the Discord, he got blocked before, so he went from 0.050, so 500th of a second plus, to 0.2 of a second improvement on that lap time in that final run. So Tim definitely found that lap time on that final run. He's there in P2 and he had very good qualifying towards the back end of last season. So I'm not really surprised, to be honest, that he's actually up there and that he's actually performing at the standard. Because I think Tim, probably the most improved driver, I've got to say, last season from PSF1. Don't want to give Aurelian and Cameron Dowd any credit for P1 and 2, but Tim there definitely did a fantastic job. He was qualifying very consistently. Qualifying is one thing, though. The race is completely different. These drivers have got to focus mentally. I asked this as well in terms of some of the drivers' thoughts coming into tonight as well, and in terms of their mental preparation. Many drivers actually saying they're not going to practice until a couple of hours before the race, and then they're going to just get mentally in the zone as the race comes, which I think is very interesting because if drivers have engineers in the background, engineers will be giving them a little bit of calming, cool advice, probably saying right now, right, it's game time. We're going to go out on track very soon indeed. We're going to see how everything will go, avoid the lap 1 carnage, and just progress from there. Take it lap by lap. And I think that is probably the advice that engineers are giving right now to these drivers out on track. It looks like Ryan has now readied up us in the Discord and indeed in the lobby, which means we're going to be getting going in 30 seconds.
Woohoo! That is great news. And the first race of PSGL Season 36 is about to commence. They have a different strategy than what we do. James, I know what I do for one hub. I shouldn't really say the league. What I do for some, I'm gonna get in trouble now. Oops. What I do for other leagues, I basically practice. I think about a day before, like for a couple of hours a night. Then I practice of the afternoon of the race, and then I just do. I think an hour before the race, I don't do any practice at all. Because if I do practice way before the race, my mind just goes berserk and all that jazz. So, you know, people have different ideas. People have different mentalities of practicing for races.
Oh.
And it is interesting. Oh, what's happened here?
We have an issue in the lobby, I believe.
It's Stefano.
Stefano.
So I think drivers may be told to unready up to make sure Stefano can get back in. So it looked like we were going to get going, but we're not. Great.
And this is the same issue, actually, that Evan had in F2, I believe. Evan was the one that was struggling for connection in F2, and it looks like the same. Stefano, I think, just needs to restart his game, and then it'll be
He's
fine.
the only one that's
but
red
remember,
for
of course,
me.
he did.
Everyone else
He
is
joined
green.
in qualifying, remember, though. He joined in qualifying, remember, though. So I wonder if that's an issue potentially in joining in qualifying, and it's caused the lobby potentially to mess over a little bit. Looking through the Discord, Ryan saying he lives in Duisburg. I can't pronounce that properly, but your owner's telling them to leave and rejoin, and hopefully we will get to see him leave and rejoin very, very soon indeed. Chat, by the way, going off in terms of the predictions. If you want to get your predictions in, now is probably the best time to. Max saying Marcados is going to win. Max Vissel saying Marcados is going to win. Grandpa himself there in the chat. Nando Morera saying Marcados as well. Avatar going for Matteo, and Frankie going for M. Sapala, which is very interesting indeed. And that,
Yeah, we're
back
going.
what Frankie said earlier on.
Oh,
There we
they're unreadying so they can get Stefano in again. Okay. So they're going to get Stefano in. Hopefully, we'll be getting underway soon. I think that's what caused the F2 lobby to just combust earlier on. That's why they took longer. So, yes, that is probably why. But that gives us good chance, James, to talk about sponsors for this season. It has remained unchanged since last season. First of all, of course, our title sponsor. Look at those lovely chairs. They look beautiful. GT Mega, 5% off all GT Mega products by using the code PSGL at checkout. They've got some new chairs going on at the moment, so make sure you check it out on their Twitter at GT Mega Racing, and you can use the discount code for that. I'm very jealous because a few of our PSGL commentators have got the new series of chairs, and that from their experience, it looks very comfy, and you could be getting one of those there as well. If you were to get another GT Mega product, James, what would you get?
One of the bucket seats, I think. I know bucket seats are in the fashion right now for wheel stands and everything else. So I think maybe a bucket seat would do. But then again, in my room, it'll be very difficult, as you can probably tell in the background. There's my bed. There's hardly any space in between. So I don't know where the bucket seat will even fit, to be honest.
Yeah. I don't know. I would want to get a GT Mega cockpit, because at the moment my rig is a stand, but I have to use another chair to sit on, a GT Mega chair. So I have two GT Mega chairs, by the way. One I bought, I didn't bought. It was given to me for my birthday, I think, one year. So I used that for it, and then I used my PSGL one for commentary. So that works quite well. So that is our title sponsor there. Or you can use it on GT Mega in the chat on YouTube if you want to as well. And our Visa partners that we got signed to a few races before the end of season 35 last season. SRC, Sim Racing Centre. Without them, some drivers may not have the amazing setups that they've got. I'm trying to find the information on the Discord.
I've got it.
You've got it. Take away, James.
Sim Racing Centre is PSGL's new sponsor for F1 23. SRC is the lead provider for all things F1 23. Whether you need a mega setup, expert engineering, or strategy advice even, or one-on-one coaching with some of their amazing team, yes, you can book a session and get direct advice from two-time F1 esports champion Brendan Lee, you can have a look at SRC using the link below and use PSGL at checkout for 10% off your purchase. And I know there's been a lot, actually, of good things being said about SRC on Twitter as well. They are phenomenal. They are run by sim racers through and through. And it's always good, I think, to see something like this being set up. The ingenuity that I think we see within the sim racing community, goodness knows what can be achieved within a couple of years. Sim Racing Centre definitely a forefront of that. The description, the link, by the way, is in the description. And you can use, I can't even speak. You can use the code PSGL at checkout for 10% off.
There we go. And with that 10% discount, which I'm probably going to use, by the way, you can also get a lovely little fella that Josh has on this stream. He's called Bob. He's very lovely, and I'm very jealous that he's got one. Byron's got Bob as well, and you can get that on the merch section. I'm literally, after this, going to go onto their Sim Racing Centre website, get that, and show it to you on stream next week, hopefully. But cost of living crisis. If someone could vote me to getting Bob, that would be lovely. Choking, you don't have to. I could just use the PSGL code. You're welcome, Connor. Anyway, I think Ryan has just said in the Discord they're giving Stefano 2 more minutes to join, and then if he's not back by a certain time, then we will get going, because otherwise we'll be running a little bit late. So yeah, that is the scheme of things. That's who we're waiting for, of course. That would push quite a few drivers up positions in the grand scheme of things as well. And don't forget, it is Ren that is going to be out on top. No formation lap. Just as a reminder for those of you that are brand new to PSGL, and points on offer, 16 points for first place, which means the championship is going to be even closer. Remember how close it was last season? Well, we're going to have it even close this season. Someone's saying they want to see me out on track. Well, not in PSGL, because obviously I'll commentate on the Mondays, I use assist. And I wouldn't be good at PSGL. There will probably be a tier made for me. So, no. I race in other leagues, but just not PSGL. I'm not going to say the other leagues on air, but yeah. So, yeah, unfortunately, you can't see me out on track because I'm not that quick enough for these guys. I would be probably in the back or something, or a few laps down. But we are about to get underway finally. Thank you so much, everybody, for bearing with us rambling for the past 10-15 minutes. Evan and Byron managed it in F2, so we could definitely manage it in F1 for sure as well. It was Wednesday out on top on pole position. Let us know your predictions in the race. And we also got some engineers in the chat as well. From Sim Racing Centre and Veloce Academy watching in the chat, so shout out to you all. Big plugs about streams going up, by the way. Wednesday, 7 PM UK time, PCF1, you get to see the likes of Jana Wattmere in there, Thomas Von Hart racing around Brazil on Wednesday. Thursday will be the PC tiers as they head to, on need to double check what track we're in again. But they got the second round of their championship. Then we got the EE Series on Friday at 7 o'clock with Nathan Richards and Joshua Griffin Meek taking you through the action there. Those are the streams you've got to look forward to between now and Friday. But you still got us to look forward to first. The race is about to start.
The race is about to start indeed. Alfie, by the way, asking in the YouTube chat who got pulled. It was Renz Thomason on top by 19 hundredths of a second in the end. Tim in second, Flopman third, Markadors fourth, Matteo in fifth, 500ths of a second, by the way, covering the top 5 at the end of that qualifying session. Very, very close indeed. The drivers will be getting going very much out on track soon indeed. Tice Rook, by the way, in the chat there as well, doing some work, he is saying. I bet he is. I bet he's just come in to watch me and Jess going through in terms of commentary and to see these guys out on track. As I said earlier on, Jess, this is the perfect opportunity for somebody in this division to put their name in lights. There's not really one standout face on PlayStation right now. Let's see who it is in Season 36.
Yes, well, we did see in many past situations, we've seen the likes of Matteo being up there near the front, but he hasn't been shining his name in lights today very much, but maybe he can capitalise as well. But who's going to join the likes of Aurelian, Jay Van Bussel, Max, Tiger Hardy, Mirko Siriano, Matthew Older, and Joost Noordijk for a chance to win the title. And also Wilson Hughes, Jan Mir, Gil, Big C, of course, many previous F1 champions. Apparently someone's in love with me. Okay, thanks. Thank you.
We're back.
Oh, are we about to get going?
I'm saying we're back. PSGL's back.
Yeah, we are back because we've got some random things in the chat. Oh, I love it. Keep those comments coming in. But maybe one of these guys could join the ranks of these former champions. Obviously, Aurelian taking sabbatical to make sure he gets his PC set up ready for season 37 as well. So best of luck to Aurelian, of course. So massive congratulations again for winning the season 35 title. Shame he's not racing this season, but he's watching the chat just to see who's going to hand the baton to in about 11 races time.
Yeah, 11 races time, and it's going to be really interesting, I think, to see. Obviously, as I say, there is plenty up for grabs here in PSF1. Hopefully, we're going to see some good racing out on track. Avatar mentioned in the chat, by the way, I watched you race with the Arnhem and Timo. Anyways, need to restart.
Hold on, we are about to get underway. The 5 red lights are on for the first race of season 36. It's a go. Renz had an awful start and an awful getaway. Tim has had a much better start. They make their way past the pit exit in towards turn number 1, but Renz managing to have too close for comfort there and managed to hold on to the lead, but Tim had the better launch at the moment. Yossi up into 4th place. He's going to try and go side by side on with Flopman in the Sauber, and Yossi is up into 3rd place. Looks like most people have got away cleanly in turn 1 already, which is very, very great to see. The top 3 running away with it right now. A few people almost going off in turn number 5. Rydell's dropped to P9 as well. They're all in the same train, which is crazy, but the top 2 remain unchanged. Yossi, though, up into 3rd. We see Gil and the Mercedes going side by side. We've got Tim and Renz going side by side as well. Tim is up your race leader. I could see some different tyres going on. I see Tim on the set of the medium compound of tyres, and Yossi is going to try and get Renz in this straight. Then let's see if he can do it then. Down the inside he goes, and Yossi's up to P2.
Yossi is up to P2 and he is doing the Thales strategy from F2. There's a bit of a wide moment there, I think, from Volokongan in the background as well. Stefano trying to fight through there in the Red Bull, but Tim there leads the way. He's on a set of medium compound tyres and he's got through the field past Renz. Yossi now in 2nd, and these two have the opportunity now to pull away out on track in the early stages of this Form 3. They're side by side further down the field. They're 3 wide, I think, in the background. Stefano Bacchi, and I think that's Jeroen as well in there to the inside line. The Aston Martin getting the job done to the inside line. They're both on a set of soft, Stefano and Jeroen. Bacchi on a set of hard compound tyres. The only other driver, by the way, on a set of mediums is GL Gil. He's there down in 10th. There's 3 wide in the back, where there's an absolute dive bomb there from Nuth to the inside line on the back of Volokongan, who has been very slow in the early stages. Unlike, though, as Nuth picks up a 3-second penalty, unlike F2, where we had absolute carnage through turn 1, everyone is clean through turn 1, everyone is clean through lap 1. Perfect stuff from Tim leading the way. Yossi in 2nd, and look at the gap already. 7/10 of a second. The only way is up for them two.
Yes, but don't forget the hards. They are finding it hard just to warm up a little bit. Just wait until the middle half of the race. The hards will come at their operating window compared to everybody else, as Yossi tries to get the move on Tim on those soft compound tyres. And as James says, that was an easy move for the Alpine driver, as James is picked for the race win. Stefano, F7R Stefano gets past GL Gil up into 10th place on those soft compound tyres. We've got 3 people on the soft. It's good to see varying strategies right now. Jeroen now gets past Gil, so Gil is getting eaten up right now, but he's probably going to stay ahead of the hards behind them. Yossi taking the fastest lap with a 1:19.9. We've got, I think, about 15 drivers who are on the hard command tyres. DRS is activated. If you're new to Formula 1, welcome. And you'll be using DRS if you're 1 second within the car ahead and within the DRS detection point. And we're seeing a massive DRS train. And one thing I also do see is a Williams going side by side with Nuth. Almost had a bit of a squirm through turn 4, but he's got ahead of Nuth up to 16th. Nuth has not had the best start. Neither is Peck or Keke in 17th and 18th spot. What could it be for them? But they still got a long way to go in this race. But Tim is closing on the back of Yossi now. This is going to be potentially a brave move if he can make it through turn number 10. And he's not going to go for it yet. He's not going to go for it yet. He might get the DRS coming up through here as well. Noob and Ryan are having a battle in the background. But Yossi stays ahead of Tim for now. You don't want to be pushing too much, Yossi, because Tim will probably close into you within the next few laps.
Both of them have got to work together at this point, I think. Both of them were 1.1 seconds clear of Renz, and they nearly had him out of DRS range. Remember, the DRS detection point after Sector 1 is actually shared with the same one coming down towards turn number 11. So the same DRS detection point is for them two DRS zones as Matteo passes Marquez to the inside line in towards turn 1. Matteo getting through the McLaren very easily there on the Williams of Marquez. And now Zolzo could be next up potentially on the chopping block with Marquez. Marquez there having to defend in towards Whitefoot corner at turn number 3. Nearly gets forced out wide. Nearly had the Gutierrez Alonso moment, which we do not want to repeat around this track. Marquez though remains in 6th, Zolzo there in 7th. The front two had the opportunity to pull away. Now they haven't. Renz is back within DRS range on him, but he's within slipstream range as well on the back of Tim. So they're all going to be slipstreaming off each other. And the one now in trouble is Matteo there in 5th. He's 0.8 of a second down. Now beginning to catch back up. Zolzo now going for the move on Marquez down the straight. Is he going to risk this for Chocolate Biscuit to the inside line in towards turn number 9? Not quite. Stefano on the back of Sapala, and I think Stefano has got left silent plate damage on the car. There was a bit of carbon fibre coming off the Red Bull there, and I'm just trying to lean in to see if he's got any damage. Stefano there to the inside line, Stefano on the outside line. If Stefano hasn't got damage there, he is one very, very lucky man.
Yeah, I think he is struggling a little bit on exit in certain corners. You can see with his car, or maybe he was pushing with the softs too much. Only time will tell. We will find out in the next couple of laps. Stefano stays in, so he thinks that the damage is okay to continue if there is damage. Yoszi's found a bit more time on Tim once again. He's got to get this move ASAP. One driver that's looking good is Renz. His tyres have operated perfectly. Flopman as well. And it's literally going to be a four-way fight for the win. And what's going on here, James?
Flopman had a desync on my end. I'm not, sorry, not Flopman. Tim's having a desync completely on my end. I'm not sure if he's losing connection from the lobby here. Everyone's having to slow up behind, and Renz is in the wall. Renz is spun, coming through the right-hand return number 6, probably off put there actually by the Ferrari lagging. Tim has left the session. Renz, I think, has had to spin around the car. He's right down at the back of the field now. Drama all caused by Tim leaving the session. Everyone in behind probably thought, I can't really do much about this. Yossi now overtaking him. Flopman overtaking him. I'll try and get Tim back into the lobby if we can. Yossi, though, leading the way now. Flopman in 2nd, Matteo there in 3rd. Renz didn't deserve that, and neither did Tim.
No, I don't think Renz deserved him spinning up like that. It was very unfortunate for him, but still a long way to go in this race, and he may have to pit for damage, unfortunately, so he may do 2 medium stints, but we did say safety cars can be quite common around here as well, as Tim is falling way down the field. That is absolutely gutted for him at this stage, because he was looking like he's favourite to win this race, and there was quite a few people in the chat that feel sorry for him at this moment in time. You got to feel sorry for certain drivers as well. It's their first race in the top division. They were looking like they were doing well and impressing us, and now they've had some bad luck. Hopefully it's not the sign of things to come for the Cedar for him. He is a reserve after all, but hopefully he'll have better luck in the races to come, as we're on lap 6 of 29 of this race. If you're liking this action, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell if you're on YouTube. Make sure you do follow us on Twitch, as the Sauber driver of Gil trying to get past the Alfa Romeo driver of Jeroen. Can he do it past turn number 9? Yes, he does. Up into 9th spot. I think for Jeroen, the softs are definitely starting to die a little bit, and Gil's trying to close in on Stefano now with the DRS, but he decides to back out of it. And I think for certain soft runners, James, I think the softs are going off already.
Yeah, they are. I think Yossi beginning to struggle, but it might be because Flopman, Matteo, Marquez don't want to overtake him at this stage. It could be that as well. Gilles, by the way, the Sauber driver, even there in 9th. Well, we will definitely get this right for next week. Zolzo and Marquez, 4th and 5th are side by side down the straight, as is Gustav Rodadal. Now looking to the outside on, there's a yellow flag coming to the final corner, and that is Erpek that is round. The season 34 F2 champion Ryan through the final corner, now down at the back of the field. Tim is behind Renz now further down the field as well. They're side by side though between Stefano and Sapala in towards turn 3 at Whiteford Corner. Tim has managed to get back in the session, which is very fortunate indeed. Yossi though has got a whole host of pursuers in behind. Flopman there in second, Matteo there in third. Matteo's probably wondering right now, Flopman and Yossi, how on earth have you got in this position when I've got a full amount of battery to use up? In the McLaren there in third. Alfie saying in the chat what happened at the final corner. Urpek and Spun coming through the final corner. And there goes Flopman for the race lead. Passing Yossi down in towards turn number 9 and 10 at the chicane. And it's easy stuff for Flopman. And I think also GL has now got through the Sauber on the Red Bull of Stefano up to 8th.
Yeah, and I think he's going to try and get past the Haas driver of the Cipolla in towards this next corner. Nope, he's not. He's going to wait, I think, until the next lap. So there's certain drivers that have picked overtaking spots they think they're confident at and they could try and go for the moves for, and maybe trying to pick the driver's mistakes. Some of these drivers know what the driver's weak points around this track. Some people don't, because obviously we have a lot of new drivers in this division that have never raced in F1 before. So this is the first chance for people to get used to who they're racing for and who we could expect to be their biggest rivals. That gives us an idea of what question to ask next week as we get into round number 2. No budging at the moment. What they're doing is saving a bit of tyre life and battery right now. But there's certain people that are pushing for dear life to stay in this DRS train. Marquez is almost falling out of that DRS train, by the way. 7th, and he's got Gustav, Cipolla and Gil chasing him down. So Marquez needs to get a move on ASAP. Otherwise, Gustav could put him under pressure. Here he is in that AlphaTauri. Marquez does have the DRS, so that's going to help him a little bit as they head towards turn 9 and 10. Let's see what Gustav could do. No, Gustav is going to stay behind for now, but he's got a brilliant run into this back straight. DRS wide open. He's got a bit of overtake to use. He's only used about 3%. No, Gustav has saved a little bit, so maybe he's using Marquez a bit of a toe in this next lap to make sure he can stay within this train.
Liam, by the way, saying in the YouTube chat, Urpek apparently had the glitch, where I think the glitch is you get stuck basically on the track and then you have to reset the track to basically fix the glitch. That's what I think happened maybe with Urpek. It did look a little bit strange because I didn't see him spin coming through on the mini-map through the final corner. Definitely looks strange on my end. Flopman though leading the way, Yossi there in second, Matteo there in third. Gustav is still on the back of Marquez. He's trying to push Marquez along, but Marquez won't be pushed along because here comes Gustav on the outside line in towards turn number 3 and he's into the back of the Red Bull. That was never going to work and he's nearly spun, I think, into Marquez. Marquez, I think has got away with that. In the end, Stefano all the way into 8th position. Zol's are the one dropping down. I wonder if Marquez has got an illegal overtake potentially in terms of the car behind. Gil and Stefano, as a result of that, Zol's are the one that got absolutely cannoned into in the end. And I think Marquez, in fact, has got damage. Right side end plate damage on the car for the Williams man. And that is absolute strife for him. He was P4 in the championship even last season, and now he's in strife in Australia. What a way to start the season for Marquez. He'd be wishing season 35 would just come back to him right now. Flopman leading the way, Yossi second, Matteo there in third. The front three, though, have now pulled outside of ERS range, and DRS range on Gustav, Sapala, GL, as Volakonga now getting the job done on his teammate around the outside of turn number 11. Nice move by Volakonga.
And it's nice to see the two Mercedes running line astern. Don't forget, in PSG, the top 10 score points, and constructors mean everything. There's a few drivers that take constructors very, very seriously, and it is great to see, obviously, Volakonga in temp sport. I think he wants to climb a few more positions. Marquez is going to have to go into the pits, and he's probably going to be doing 2 more stops until the end of this Grand Prix, because there's no way the mediums at this point is going to get to the end of this race. Alfie's made an interesting point in the YouTube chat, which I have to say, I completely agree with you on that one as well. There are a few people losing it at similar corners, which suggests to me that Australia is a very difficult circuit for the rear tyres, not going to lie. If you get 1 foot wrong, then you end up into an absolute spin. Gustav, by the way, is falling out of DRS range in the top 3, so they're running away with it. And look at this. We got an F7R1-2, and we got Matteo in third, but looks like Cipolla is going to get past Gustav for 4th place, and that was a really brilliant move from him. But can Gustav get the move back on him down this back straight? We haven't seen that much overtake, to be fair, from the midfield drivers around here, so they're playing it safe for these guys. No, Cipolla stays ahead of Gustav. So we got two F7Rs in the top two, Matteo in third. We got an F2 driver from last season in first and an F2 driver, the champion, in third.
Yeah, Sapala, by the way, had that same DRS detection point as I alluded to earlier on. He had that same DRS detection point. Now, obviously, down and towards turn 1 and 3, they're different DRS detection points, so we might be under pressure from Gustav in towards turn number 3. But you see the little, on the mini-map on my screen anyways, the middle sector, basically coming out through the first sector into the middle sector, turn 6 and 7, there's that circle, the green circle there. That is the DRS detection point, and you'll notice all the way down the back straight on the mini-map, there is no other DRS detection point, so it is shared. Turns 9 and 10, that DRS detection point is shared with the ones down Lakeside driving towards turns 7 and 8. So, very much interesting. And as you say, Sapala now outside of DRS range, Gustav outside of DRS range, could bring GLG potentially into play, but I think Gustav is just going to have to try and basically slipstream and then go for the move. Stefano's now through on Gil and behind, Gustav passing Sapala down Lakeside Drive into the left-hander now, turn number 9. I thought GLG was going to go for that. He knows better, being a season 26 F1 champion. He definitely knows better from going around the outside of turn number 9 there. But he's still there in behind on Stefano. Jeroen there in 8, Zolzo there in 9. Looking through the chat as well, Francesco saying Urpek can still win. Yeah, Urpek, remember, he had an absolute wretched qualifying session, crashed out early in qualifying. He's there in 15th position. And with everyone beginning to maybe look at one eye in the pit lane, Urpek potentially has got a chance to undercut. As soon as I say that, Stefano and Jeroen are in.
Well, it looks like they can read your mind, Mr. James Head, and maybe you should start predicting the lottery numbers, even though you think you shouldn't. So yes, we got Stefano and Jeroen in the pit lane. Renz, unsurprisingly, is in the pit lane after his troubles as well, so they're going for the early undercut. I've raced around here, around Australia, and the undercut could be around a second or two a lap, as unfortunately Renz is out of the race. It's unfortunate he's given up for that, but that's his race over. So is Tim. Hopefully they haven't come together in the pit lane. Nope, these after session. Okay, so for them too, they decided to give up the ghost and try and come back for next week for Tim's benefit. So we're almost halfway into this race then. Yossi's going to have another go. Look at Matteo. Matteo is definitely loving life, trying to get past Yossi, but I don't think he's going to do it here. He's definitely showing what he's made of, and he's definitely showing why he deserves being this tier. Same with Flopman, same with Yossi as well. Everyone else is not matching them currently, so even if they pit, they're probably still going to come out ahead of these guys as well. It's going to be upping about a few laps before they go on those mediums, and literally anyone from, I think, the top 12 could win. Even Urpek. Urpek's even catching up to these guys as well, and he's on 11 lap odd hard, so he still could have a fight in this as well. Matteo could try once again, but I don't think he's going to do it. So the top 3 main line astern. Gil, though, he's putting the hammer down. He wants to try and get past as many people as he can before he pits for either the hard or the soft tyres.
He'll probably have to go, I would imagine, for Gil onto a set of soft compound tyres. He'll probably be in when the last hard runners are in. I would expect around about lap 16, lap 17, and try and push out those softs. If Yossi on 12 lap old softs can do it, GLG, the old master, definitely can do it on that set of soft compound tyres later on in the race. And I think that is why we're seeing majority of drivers on that set of hards going maybe for set of mediums, maybe going for set of softs. If I was Yossi right now in second, I'd think about actually coming in the pit lane. If I was him right now, Matteo is the one that's beginning to attack him. Flopman in behind is not really going anywhere. So Yossi's stuck in a bit of a sandwich right now. And if I was him, get out the sandwich, go in for the pit lane, go on to a set of mediums. You can get them to the end of the race, I think, from this point. And if I was in Yossi's shoes, I'd think about getting that undercut, because that undercut around here can be about 4 seconds a lap. Is Yossi going to come in? No. Clearly not listening to me in the chat, at least. Yossi there in second.
Well, Gustav
there in third. Gustav, though, is in, and I think this will be for a set of mediums.
Yeah, surely it's got to be for set of mediums. If it's for soft, then they won't be able to make it. And they will fall off between 50 and 60% by the end of the race, but it's going to be smart for them because they're going to gain so much time, and the gap's going to be potentially quite massive for him as well. So where's Gustav going to come out in relation to the other drivers? Well, we'll have to wait and see. There's Stefano, who was very tight on the back of Jeroen there, but Gustav having the upper effect right now, but Stefano on the warmer tyres, and Jeroen as well is going to be 3 wide, heading towards turn number 3, but one that backs off. Stefano on the older rubber, but the warmer rubber is up into 13th spot. I think Gustav will just have to be a little bit patient, and unfortunately, what has happened to Tim in the chat, his internet died, then got desync, so can't continue. That is a shame for Tim that he's had desync problems, but definitely the right thing to do if you're having desync to retire, but it is a shame that you're going to leave down points on that. Volakongan is looking quite racy as he's going to try and get past Zorso, the 3rd place man from F2 last season. Zorso has run out of battery, but Volakongan is in 6th position. Volakongan is on a comeback charge. He's pretty much a veteran in this tier, and he's absolutely loving life. Volakongan comes into the pits. Flopman, Yossi, and Tipola is in. Yossi, by the way, has managed to stretch those tyres for 13 laps and was managing to keep up with Flopman. So I have to say, Yossi has impressed me a lot today just by keeping up with it on softs, which shows how good of a driver he is. And the ones who just came into the pit lane, they've all gone for 7 mediums.
Set of medium compound tyres. Here are the runners, though, on the harder rubber, on the fresher rubber. Now going to get a phenomenal run coming out of turn number 1. Jeroen's on the back of Yossi. Really good undercut strategy going on around here. Here comes Gustav to the inside line. In towards turn number 3 at Whiteford Corner. Can he get the job done to the inside line? The Alpha Tower and the Aston Martin very close to each other. They come now through the left-hand of turn 4. They're going to be side by side on through turn number 5 as well. And that is beautiful stuff from Gustav. Gets the job done. Jeroen to 8, Jeroen there in 9, Stefano there in 10. But this crucially is more important because it's net P1, 2 and 3 out on track. Mateo's opted to stay out there. He's basically on a qualifying run right now. Everyone else in front and behind him is not really overtaking. So Flopman, Yossi and Gustav are going to get a really big advantage in terms of this. Mateo, if I was him, I'd be straight in the pit lane, and he is. He's straight into the pit lane, set of medium compound tyres, he'll fresher rubber by a lap towards the end. A lap fresher tyre around this track can get you about 5% advantage at the end of the race. So Mateo going for the tyres rather than for track position.
Yes, understandable for Mateo. He's done that in F2 last season, so I'm not really surprised that he has done that this season already. So he's going to come out. Flopman is going to be tighter than I thought, actually. And Mateo is going to get a good run in towards turn number 1. Oh, it's Gustav almost got past him on exit. But Gustav got the job done. So it's Flopman and Yossi, your net race leaders. We got Jeroen trying to fight back. He's on older tyres. But that's not going to stop Jeroen, the Aston Martin driver, who has got some really good results in his PSGL F1 career. Mateo, though, eventually gets past up to 7th. That was very, very close for Mateo. That was almost a hit in the wall for the McLaren driver. But he's just about edged him right now. Crucially, Mateo is still in this DRS train with Gustav, Yossi and Flopman. So he's still got a chance of winning this race. The top 3, though, still yet to stop. It is Gil that's leading, Keke in 2nd, and Noof in 3rd. And he's going to try and get past Keke for 2nd, but couldn't quite do it.
Yeah, couldn't quite do it. Apologies, by the way, if you heard me coughing. Water went down the wrong way. Apologies about that. Yossi on the back of Flopman, 4th and 5th position. Unfortunately, that water is still coming back, but Yossi there on the back of Flopman. 4th and 5th position. Somebody predicted, I think it was Aurelian, if I'm not mistaken, predicted potentially Enzo Tabani, Flopman, for the race win. And Flopman there in P4 and 5, doing a fantastic job. Yossi there in behind him. The Swiss man is going to try and cook on the back of him, but this is now going to build towards the final few laps of this race. This will be the big integral part of this race. Track position, by the way, Mateo's actually came out in a net P4, which is not bad whatsoever at all. Nuth, by the way, is into the pit lane. He's on the exit of the pit lane and has came out ahead of Erpek, which is good for him in terms of track position. They're down in 14th. Stefano getting the move on Stefano. I think Stefano went very deep there in towards turn 3 at Whiteford Corner. Gets the job done, does the fin, and now Stefano is cooking on the back of Jeroen. But Jeroen could fall out of DRS range very soon indeed. He's on that set of hard compounded tyres. Clearly feels he can get to the end. And put it this way, those hards are not going to get to the end if he runs off track like that. As Stefano now on the back of him, running down Lakeside Drive in towards turns 9 and 10. This should be easy for the fin. Is he even going to risk this for the move? No, he's not. He's going to stay in behind on the Aston Martin. More importantly, though, Yossi on the back of Flopman coming out of the chicane.
Yossi, here he comes. He's going to try and go for the race lead. This could be very, very tight for these two drivers. They can't afford to keep squabbling like that. They may use each other for the toe, which will help them stay ahead of the likes of Gustav and Mateo behind. but Flopman is definitely the favourite right now as Keke comes in to the pit lane. I'm almost certain for him, James, he's going to go on to a set of soft tyres because we've seen Yossi go on softs until the end.
Mediums.
No, medium softs can do it, James. We've seen Yossi do it, so I'm surprised that Keke's gone for this medium tyres. Maybe he just struggles on the softs being on for this long.
Yossi made, 13, 14 laps on a set of soft compound tyre work? I mean, with the degradation around this track and with these guys basically going about 70% of the lap full throttle, I'm kind of not surprised, but I am surprised if that even makes sense. Keke in 16, on that set of mediums, he'll have fresher rubber to the end. He's expecting pretty much half the field, I think, to have punctures if he's got onto a set of mediums. I think there may have been, though, a misselection in that. I think he wanted softs rather than mediums. Yossi definitely wants the net race lead, though, on the back of Flopman, breezing past him down the straight. The Swiss man has flown past the Frenchman down the straight in towards turn number 9 and 10. Easy stuff for Yossi. They're side-by-side into the background as well. Stefano and Yerona side-by-side through the chicane. This is not going to end well. The Mercedes just about gets out of the way of Volakongan, and he's going to have a phenomenal run now on both of them. Now in towards turns 9 and 10. Volakongan looking to the inside line, and there's not a second opportunity to pull that one off. Brilliant move by Volakongan. Opportunism at its finest. Yerona and Stefano on those tyres, getting absolutely eaten up by the medium runners. Volakongan through into 7. Brilliant driving from Volakongan, and if that is the driving that he's producing in round 1, goodness knows what he's going to do towards the end of the season.
Gil is the final driver to have come into the pit lane. He's gone for soft compounded tyres, and Dirk has put in the chat that he thinks 12 lap on the mediums is just faster than 12 laps on the softs. I completely agree with you on that front, but Yossi was able to keep pretty much just behind Flopman and stay within DRS, but it may just be the pace difference and tyre preference of these drivers. Nuke, by the way, into the points currently on track, but he's going to drop by quite a bit due to his penalties, but he's doing phenomenally well to be inside the top 10 for now. All could change within the space of the last, I would say, 11 laps with this race. And Dirk saying an interesting point in the chat with 4 DRS zones, though that's why he kept in DRS. That is a good point.
Ryan.
It is free wide potentially through this corner, and they're keeping it clean as well. Look at that. Ryan is up in 7th spot. He's pulling away now. Stefano looks like he's going to try and get past Jeroen for 8th place, but he can't quite do that. The only 2 to be on the hard compounded tyres, so they're struggling a little bit now, but watch them at the end when those mediums start to degrade.
Yeah, Ben's saying in the chat as well, with 4 DRS zones, though, that's why he kept in DRS. Can't overtake with dead spots on the tyres. Totally agree with that as well.
Dead
I think
soft.
Yossi, if I'm not mistaken for Yossi, he was on that set of soft compound tyre. He's now in the race lead, and to be honest, I hope he stays there because he's my prediction for the race win tonight. But he's there in the lead, and he's actually managed his strategy, I think, a lot better than what Flopman and Matteo have. Matteo's on a lap pressure tyres. His lap pressure tyres are beginning to come into play. They've got full amount of battery as Matteo, 94% for Matteo. Flopman on 98. Yossi's got a full battery. He's got 100%. So any questions that get answered from in behind from Flopman and Matteo, it's perfect because Gustav is running low on ERS. He's on 79%. Sapola's on 35%, so he desperately needs to save up ERS for the final thrust on the final 9 laps of this race. But Yossi at the minute, I think, is the one that's managing this race better. Whether or not that management of this race comes back to haunt him is a different thing later on. But Yossi leading the way, Flopman there in 2nd, Matteo there in 3rd. The top 5 now pulling away. Volakongan, though, as soon as these guys get battling, Volakongan, Ryan will come into play.
Yes, watch out for them as well. And speaking of Euroni's picked up penalties, we've got, I think, 4 drivers in this field that picked up time penalties so far in this race. Hopefully that won't come back to bite them. No safety cars so far, but knowing me, I would pull off the biggest commentator's curse of my life. As Matteo trying to get to the tyre temperature in towards turn number 1. He doesn't want that dirty air, as we can see Matteo lighting up the track right now. He knows he's got 1 lap fresher rubber compared to the likes of Flopman and Yossi, 2 lap fresher rubber compared to Gustav. And we know on this game, even being on those tyres for an additional lap less than everybody else, it does give you more grip. So people are rating to good points in the chat that Matteo could potentially go on and win this thing. Dirk saying that Matteo could win this race. Here comes Matteo, as he's proving myself and Dirk's point perfectly. But Flopman, I would tell you, he's probably going to shut the door. I feel I was Mateo, I would back off this one, and he does the right thing and backs off this one.
He does, but Flopman might have a run on Yossi in towards turn number 11. Is he going to think about the move up in towards the right-hand turn number 11? No, they're going to remain as they are. And all of that, by the way, that DRS train, Bulakongan's on 11% of ERS, so he's used up pretty much the entirety of his battery just to get onto the back of these guys. Bulakongan, I think, is going to be done for later on in the race. He's going to be eaten up maybe by Ryan, who's got much better battery compared to him. I mean, he's got 5% more, but it is still a bit of a difference. Yossi leaned the way, Flopman second, Mateo there in third. If I was in Mateo's shoes right now, I'd sit and wait, but there's only a matter of time where driver's instinct takes over. And this is what I'm on about, because he's going to go for the move now in the back of Flopman in towards turn number 3. Driver's instinct takes over. Flopman was lagging into the back of him, and Flopman actually might go around the outside of Yossi in towards turn number 3 at Whitefoot Corner. Doesn't get the job done. Now through turn number 4, Mateo absolutely picking his spot to get that move done. All of that led from Flopman going deep in towards turn 3. Mateo through and he's into second. Flopman there in third. Great opportunism there from the McLaren. The Sauber in behind and Flopman trying to look for the move. Gustav now joining this. Sapala joining this as well. Gustav on his return to PSF1 was here last season, of course. Sapala there, F3 last season. And he's a reserve, and he's there in P5, fighting out with the best on the best on PlayStation. Phenomenal stuff. Yossi leads, but he's got a wall of cars in behind.
He has got a wall of cars in behind, and this is absolutely sensational. And that was a bit of a swerve from the Sauber driver of Flopman.
No way.
Stefano's got a penalty. So that's going to not help him one bit. Yossi is pulling away from this one. Mateo, I think, is just going to be very, very patient going into the end of this race. I think he's not going to take things too lightly for some of these drivers. And I wonder if a few people are going to fall out of DRS range if they're not too careful. Bulakongan's back in this race because he's got no penalties. He could be on for a very good result. GL up into 10th spot. He could jump up quite a bit due to penalties as well. He's just got to hang in there. Let's just hope we don't get a safety car.
Let's hope we don't get a safety car indeed. Drivers actually, people actually referencing in the chat about Flopman. One characteristic that I've seen with Flopman, he is very aggressive in his defensive driving, and I just hope that is not going to come back to haunt him in this race. He's in a perfect position, even more perfect, because he's now going to go for the move on Mateo. Down lakeside drive, in toward the left-hander now of turns number 9 and 10. He's not going to get the job done, but there is a bit of lag back that he's just going to watch out for. Mateo, he lags back any further. Flopman will have front wing damage on that car. So Flopman's just going to pick his battles. Same with Mateo, same with Yossi. They've just got to pick and choose where they go. Mateo now on the outside line towards turn number 11. Doesn't get the job done. Flopman runs into the back there of the McLaren, actually. Gustav now on the inside line looking to try and get the move done through 11, but doesn't. Flopman there in third. He's just got to be, I think, very calm and cool at this stage. I know it could be hard for him, given that he's got a wall of cars in behind him as well, and Gustav, Sapala and Bulakongan. Mentality has got to take over, I think, for Flopman. He doesn't want to get too aggressive, and he doesn't want to get over-exaggerated in terms of his move. He's just got to sit there, wait, and the rewards will come.
Yeah, I think that is everyone's goal, I think, for the final few laps of this Grand Prix. They just got to play it safe. But Mateo's going to try and go anyway to defend on Flopman, but that almost was curtains for these guys. These guys are absolutely fighting for it, and they don't want to run too wide heading in towards that corner because you could get an instant 3 seconds, which could be hard to be removed by the stewards. So they've got pretty much go guns a-blazing on the final lap. They can't go guns a-blazing for the next 3 laps because their tyres will die, their ERS will die, the deployment. They won't recharge their battery quick enough, as well as Flopman trying to go for the up and over. It's going to be 3 wide ending towards turn number 9 and 10. Oh, how on earth do they keep that clean there? That's how we got Yossi that's gone off the track. And Gustav is like, thank you very much, that's my position. And Mateo is your race leader, but is Flopman's going to fight that?
Oh my God, Sapala! Sapala's round on the inside line. No. Sorry to cut you off, Jess. There were 3 wide in the background. Sapala was looking to the inside line, I think, on Yossi in the end. On Gustav even. Gustav was pushing him all the way to the right-hand side of the track. And Gustav, I think, is the one, along with Sapala, that came out worse than that. Sapala didn't deserve to be spun by that. All of that led from Yossi running out wide into the gravel. Flopman, how on earth he got round the outside, I do not know. He might have been over-aggressive on the inside curb. There's not much Yossi could have done about that, though. He was just there on the outside line. and he could only go one way, and that was off into the gravel to try and avoid any more contact. Flopman leading the way, Matteo there in second, Gustav there in third. Great driving out on track going on. How on earth Flopman is in this race lead, though, I do not know.
He's there's a few people in the chat that are saying that he's not calm at all. Well, I wouldn't be calm in this situation because there was almost times where we almost went off the circuit. I mean, this is PSF1.
There's Yossi.
Is Yossi in this as well, side by side with Gustav as well. Yossi's up to third. It's like they're switching positions as well and getting a bit of a toe as well. And Baz in the chat saying Flopman being Flopman. Bender saying rider down my goat. With him, he was in P3 and now he's in P4. He could get on the podium, you never know. And I would like to see, by the way, the amount of warnings. Commentator's curse.
Commentator's curse. Gustav just picked up a 3-second penalty. Looking through the penalties, by the way, Ryan's on 3, Nuth is on 9. How on earth he's in P8, I do not know, because he's had a phenomenal race, I think. Very much an underdog performance there from the multiple-time PSGL champion back in the day. Jeroen there in 9th as well. He's on 6 seconds. Stefano on 3, and Sapala on 3 seconds worth of penalties as well. All of them are for track limits. No penalties picked up in the pit lane or anything like that. Avatar saying in the chat, Gustav maybe deserves a penalty at the end of the race. It was very difficult to see. I had a very dodgy camera angle, I may admit, so I might have got it wrong. It was either Yossi or Gustav, one of the two, that was basically pushing Zapala to the inside line, and Zapala basically had no room to go, bar on the curb and bar into a spin. Feel sorry for him, down in 15th, does not deserve that at all. Flopman, though, leading the way, Matteo in second, Yossi there in third, and I'll come back to Dirk's point, because I think he might be right with Matteo. Matteo on the back of Flopman now is in the best seat in this house. But for me, Yossi's in the best seat in the house because I just want him to win.
Well, bias, James, shush. As Matteo has got past Flopman.
Lets him through. He lets him through to DRS.
DRS chicken. I think this is very smart for Flopman, maybe. But I'm just worried that it might come back to bite him. Seville has got a time penalty to make matters worse for the Haas driver. That is a shame.
It is a shame. Flopman, I think, though, I think he's done that wrong. I honestly think now he's given Matteo potentially a chance. He's got fresher tyres, Matteo, ahead of him. And Flopman just let him through. You do not want to let a driver ahead of you with 5% fresher tyres. Flopman's been going in this battle. Matteo has not. Matteo has got a full amount of Ratty. He's got 9% ERS less than Flopman. And look at the gap now. 9/10 of a second. Matteo is going to have to go for this. Get him outside of DRS range and go for the race win. This is his chance now to put it to the sword and to put Flopman and Yossi under pressure. The gap is a second coming through the DRS detection point. And do you know what? Flopman has got DRS just about. Marketer's out of the race in the pit lane. Unfortunate for him, he was always down at the back end of the field after the early contact. Flopman, though, is just within DRS range. If that DRS detection point was any further around that corner, Flopman would be out of DRS range, and that would have been game over for his race, as well as Yossi's.
Yeah, I think for some people, they are trying to think that the DRS could be something that will save them, but there's one thing on trying to catch up to a driver, but there's another thing on pretty much trying to get the overtake. This is going to be very close towards the final few laps. Get your final predictions in. One man. Who do you think is going to win? Well, I think there's a few people going for Matteo in the chat as well. A few for Flopman as well. I wonder if there's any Yossi fans in the chat as well. We could. Maybe Gustav, but he has got a penalty. Volokongen. Don't count him out for the win of this race as well. As we make our way towards turn number 3 for the penultimate time. Now heading towards turn number 4. And I think there's quite a few people that are not going to go for it. If I was Flopman, it's not going to go for it. But I think if Matteo pulls away down this straight here, then that's game over. Look at that. He's finding a bit more time on this back straight. He's got the fresher tyres, so he could do that very, very soon.
3 wide. 3 wide down the straight. Yossi goes for the move on Flopman, gets the inside line, gets both of them down Lakeside Drive, and that is a drive that is certainly going to be on Yossi's hit list. Coming through the right-hander now of turn number 10, gets the job done. Yossi back there into the race lead. Flopman in second, Matteo in third, and because they're fighting so hard, Volokongen and Gustav all of a sudden are now under pressure. Gustav has to remain on his tyres. 14 laps he's been on those tyres. could come under pressure from Ryan. GL Gilles could have a good fight in the top 5 potentially here as well. Yossi leads on to the final lap of the race. Flopman in second, Matteo there in third. Buckle up, one wild and wacky ride coming in, Bound.
Here we go then. Here comes Matteo trying to fight in toward turn number 1. And we've got some interesting comments in the chat.
Oh, Flopman makes a mistake.
Oh, he makes a mistake. He makes a mistake. As Matteo, oh, it's going to be tight. It's going to be very tight towards turn number 3. This may be Yossi's to lose here. Yossi is absolutely loving life. He's like, you keep squabbling, I could pull away. We didn't think that Yossi could potentially win this one, but all this squabbling between Flopman and Matteo is probably pretty much giving Yossi this race victory. This could be easy for him, but we will see if Flopman could gain on this back straight very, very soon. Volokongan! Volokongan's in this as well. Don't count him out for this race win, like I was saying. It's going to be a 4-way scrap for the finish. This could be a photo finish down this final back straight for one final time. If Flopman doesn't go for this is Yossi's to win.
And he nearly goes into the back of him.
He nearly goes to the back of him. Yeah.
Just about, and Yossi, I think, is going to hang on to this. The Swissman now coming through the right-hander, now the left-hander at turn number 13. Through the right-hander at turn number 14. I think Yossi's going to hold on, but Flopman's got that DRS. It's going to be a drag race to the line. F7R are going to get a 1-2, but Yossi's going to take the race win, and the first one of the season, 36 season. There's a drag race flying further down the field as well. Ryan getting ahead of Gustav in the end. Yossi, though, takes the race win. Flopman in second, Matteo there in third. Come to me for your lottery numbers.
Yes, indeed. James Head predicted Yossi for the race victory. And you can't see it at the moment, but I can. I can see the biggest grin on Mr. James Head's face.
Very, very happy right now. I know we're meant to not show any bias, but he was my pick, and I was going for him in terms of that. And I'll tell you what, it was a fantastic win from him. He played that absolutely perfectly. Flopman in the end, he was second. And in the end, he let that Matteo move go. Matteo nearly got outside of DRS, and he could have eventually won this race with 4 laps to go. Flopman in the end in second. He played his luck and he rode his luck. If that strike was any longer, it might have been a different result. But Yossi is the race winner. He's one of my favourites, I think, for the title. If he comes good, if he revives that form from Saudi Arabia in season 33, I think it was, in F2. If he revives that form, he is going to be one hell of a driver to watch out for. Yossi taking the race win. In the end, Flopman, I think it's the race that got away, and same with Matteo. I think it's the race that got away from Matteo as well. Yossi, though, wins. Flopman second, Matteo third.
Here we go. Let's run through your order then. Yossi, from Flopman, from Matteo, from Volokongan, from GL Gilles, from Ryan, from Keke, from Erpet, from Gustav. Zorzo getting points on debut, which is great to see. Great to see some of the F2 drivers making their way up there as well. Then we've got Noob, Stefano, Baki, Cipolla. What could have been? He could have been up there in the fight, but with his spin, unfortunately, that cost him a little bit. And your Roan is your final finisher, and your DNFers are Markados, Rent, and Tim. And Keke P7, that's one of his best results. He'll probably be happy with that as well. Volokongan P4, I was not expecting him to be up there at the end of the race. I wouldn't have predicted that going into this race. Nah.
No, as I said earlier on, I think on the formation of just before we were going to get racing, qualifying is one thing, the race is a completely different thing, and the race was completely different to qualifying. And you saw drivers throughout the field. Volokongan, I think, started down in the bottom half of the field, and he's ended up 4th. And I think that's a phenomenal drive from his perspective. Nobody outside the top 3, I think, bar Yossi, who qualified there in 3rd, ended up in the top 3 at the finish. They were 7th and 5th, I think they were, in terms of qualifying. But fantastic lap. But let us know in the comment section what you thought about that race. I saying in the chat potentially cross-teaming, Macho saying class teamwork. I don't think there was no teamwork in that. It was all individual basis. Yossi got away from Flopman. Flopman then ended up being basically the heir to the tortoise, basically, in front in Yossi. And Yossi just ended up having too much of a gap over Flopman. Flopman made a slight mistake coming through turns 9 and 10. If he took that any better, it might have been different. But then again, Yossi wins, Flopman in second. Matteo there in third. I think, honestly, in terms of that race, it's the race that got away from Flopman and Matteo.
Yeah, I think without those squabbles, it would have been a 1-2 for those two. But instead, it was Yossi that came out on top. He played, I think, a very patient last couple of laps. He was the one that I think was the most calm going to the final few laps because he had nothing to lose. He would have been happy with P3. And boom, because of those two keep squabbling, he was able to pull away. Hopefully, we would hear from the drivers in the post-race interviews in a moment. We would love to hear from them and see how they feel as well. But there's so many drivers. What could have been Renz, who started on pole. I think he's the one to watch out for this season, even though he's a reserve. So I would expect him to reserve quite a few times this season. Tim, without that desync, where he could have been, I think he could have been up there as well. Markados. So many unknowns just because of silly mistakes, but things happen. It's racing sometimes.
We have got an invasion, by the way, in terms of the waiting room. I've just seen Max Grohl's partner, Frankie, Mike Malda Dinka, Mike Klein, and Rishan Jacobs. I haven't seen them out on track, to be honest, here tonight. I wish Max was, to be honest, but there we are. Matteo is in the waiting room if you want me to drag him in.
Yep, the interview box is ready.
Lovely jubbly. Right, I'll click on the right name and not click on Rishan, so I don't bring him in. But hopefully we'll be able to hear from the man who finished in the end in P3, and a case maybe of what got away from Matteo. Matteo out on track, P3, definitely not the reserve, not the result even that you were expecting, because I think he could have won that.
Yeah, good evening to all. Yeah, as I said to you, James, I just expected to get some points to start the season well. But then after the banker lap, I saw I was in P2, so I said maybe I can get something more for tonight. And then, yeah, decent quali. I just aim to be in the top 5 or some position like that to have a good chance for the race. I think I managed this race in the perfect way because I had fresher tires than everyone basically in the lead train. I had full battery for basically the whole race. I tried to gap thanks to the fresher tire in the third last lap, I think. I couldn't do it just for some thousandths. And yeah, from then on, I just decided to lift and coast to recover some ERS inside of the last lap. But yeah, unfortunately, when people lose 6 tenths in one corner, you can't much.
Yeah, it's a case of I think that race got away from you because obviously you had that gap out, I think at 9/10 of a second. And if that gap was 1 second, you would have got Flopman outside of DRS range and it could have been a different thing in terms of the race result. But in the end, P3 from you out on track, you must be very happy considering you only want a point out of this race. A podium, I think, is even beyond expectations.
Actually, when you see the win is there, there is always some, some sadness for the result lost. So yeah, I think I did everything perfectly tonight. I couldn't do basically anything more. Yeah, I'm a type of guy that watches the bright side of things. So I'll take these points. I think it will be a P2 after Stewards because Flopman pushed me on the grass in the last lap. And then maybe even a P1 because, as I said, losing 6 tenths in one corner is just not normal, you know. So yeah, I'll try to take my win next week because I think it was already deserved tonight.
And obviously as well, with you being F2 champion last season, your first race in F1 this season, your 12th podium, I believe, overall in terms of your career in PSGL. Don't ask me how I found out these facts, trust me. But you were Drivers' Champion last season. How is that step up from F2 to F1 going? Obviously, you got a podium here tonight. Is there more to come?
If things keep going like this, then surely. As I said multiple times, qualifying is my problem. But if I do top 5s like tonight, I think I can do really good things in the races. And you saw that tonight because my race was way better than my qualifying. Obviously, the higher the tier is, the higher the speed is in qualifying from all the drivers. so I gotta adapt to that. But I think I did a fairly nice job tonight for being my first qualifying in F1. And then, yeah, obviously in the race, I know what I can do. So it was a bit of a shock initially because I'm trying to enjoy this season as much as possible. But, when I hit the track, the nerves came, and it was a bit difficult to put in the laps in quali. But as I said, I think I did a good job.
I don't think you're human if you don't get nervous going out on track, even if it's in sim racing. Honestly, I'm the same. Jess will probably testify, and she's the same as well. Happens to everyone. It happens to the best people. Congratulations on the P3. Jess, any questions?
Yes, I do have a question. First of all, welcome to F1. Good to see you in the top division on PlayStation. We've got a packed calendar this season. Looking at the calendar, any tracks that you are a particular fan of and you think maybe you have a chance for a podium or even a win?
To be honest, the calendar doesn't really fit my driving, my preferences. But that's the calendar. I can't do anything. So I'll try to give my all to get the best result possible every week. Belgium shouldn't be too bad. So if I do a performance like tonight, then maybe the win can really arrive next week in Spa.
That's my question, James.
That is all from me as well. Congratulations, as I say, on that P3, Matteo. Go and enjoy your evening.
Thanks, James. Thanks, Jess. Have a nice evening.
You too.
And
Jinx.
we are not done with the interviews because I am gonna say to Yossi, unless he's listening to the stream, well, he can come into the waiting room now.
Yes, indeed. Do we need to get into the waiting room, James?
Hopefully he's not on PlayStation. That's what I'm hoping for.
I'm hoping not either. So hopefully we can get them in as well, because otherwise we'll have to ramble off a bit. So let's have a little bit of an analysis of what Matteo just said. Belgium thinks he could potentially do well at as well. What is it with drivers that may not like the calendar but have to deal with it anyway? It's just pretty much finding that consistency throughout the season. But I think we do have Yossi in the commentary box. James, over to you.
We do indeed. The man who I smugly picked, I've got to be honest, for the race win. F7R Yossi, it is a race win for you. Congratulations on that race win. Talk us through the race, because in the end, that was one hell of a fight you had with Flopman and Matteo.
Yeah, it was a very, very hard race, especially starting from P6. And also starting on the softs, I think was a bit of a risk. But in the end, I think it paid off. And yeah, the race pace was pretty good and pretty happy, very happy with that result. But we need to keep going in the season. Consistency is key.
Definitely. So I think what I said to Jess then, just before you joined the commentary box, you've had a real knack, I think, of producing good results. And Saudi Arabia, I think, PSGL, was one that I thought, yeah, this guy's serious. This guy's going to be a real talent going forward. Are we going to see that level of form from Saudi Arabia? I think it's season 33, if I'm not mistaken. Is that level of form going to be hitting the track from you? Because you seem, I think, to have peaked pretty much at the right time, towards the end of the game cycle, race win already in PSGL. Surely it's going to be all the way, the only way is up really for you.
Yeah, I think it will be very hard to keep this pace, but I'm gonna do the best I can and find the time to train, because yeah, that was not the point for the last races at PSGL. And yeah, I hope I can just not be very, very fast, but just be consistent. I'm gonna come back on it, and I think it's one of the most important thing, and one of the thing I need to improve.
Definitely. So I think no matter if you even win a race, I think there's always improvements to be found. I think consistency in F1, we've said it so many times, Jess, I think that consistency is absolutely key in a tier like this, where everyone is so packed together. One race can be good, one race can be bad. anything can happen in Formula One, and it usually does, as once Murray Walker once said. But my final question, actually, you were F9 champion back in season 32, and you've come a long way from F9 to F1. How is the feeling going into the next couple of races? Belgium, of course, next week. How do you think you're going to get on?
That's a track I love, but yeah, I don't really know the pace. I think I did one race there. I don't really remember the results, but yeah, it's very good to see. If I look back when I was the same I did in F9, but the level is it's higher, like much higher. So I will need to train a lot, and I hope I can do the best results in the next races.
Definitely. I don't want to put more pressure on you. You did win around there in F2, F9 and PSF9 in season 32 as well. So I don't want to put any more pressure on you. Jess, I hope you have got another question that I've just stolen off you.
No. You nicked it! But I could say my thoughts on you, Yossi. Massive congratulations on the win. How was it on those last couple of laps? Because you thought that you were just going to get a podium, but then the win was getting on you. Were you nervous, or were you just keeping it calm? Because I thought you were keeping it calm, personally.
Yeah, I can't say I was calm. I need to say that I was fussing a lot behind the wheel. I think everyone in this kind of situation isn't probably calm, or it was very stressful. But I kept focused. I kept focused, and intent.
You carp a bit there because Discord is being an absolute idiot. But that's my question, James.
Don't worry, you weren't the same. I thought it was my internet on the play up there. But yeah, Yossi, congratulations on the race win. Let's try and make it 2 for 2 next week. Go and enjoy Eden.
Yep, thank you.
There we
Very
go.
welcome indeed. And I think that is all, because we're not getting an interview from Flopman.
No, we're not going to get an interview from Flopman. So, after 1 hour and 52 minutes, because we had a long lobby restart trying to get people into the lobby, we can wrap it up there. But let's talk about next week's track. Like you were saying, Belgium is next week, a track that I absolutely love to commentate on this game. A track known for having a lot of rainfall in the Ardennes Forest, so we could see some potential rain or even changeable conditions. It is always a history at PSGL to have some really classic races there, isn't it?
It is, and I think Belgium is an absolute mainstay on the F1 calendar. It's the longest track on the F1 calendar. It's one of those tracks where we absolutely love to go. No matter when it's in the PSGL calendar, you think, yeah, Belgium, I absolutely love to be there. I want to be there, whether it's watching, whether it's driving. You've got the best seats in the house no matter what will happen next week in PSF1. But we have had the knack of having Yossi winning this season, of course. We had Joe Van Bossel win last season, of course, as well. Are we going to see multiple race winners throughout the season? Or are we going to see one driver picking up one win one week and then one driver picking up the win the next week? It could be very much telling, I think, in terms of how the season will progress. Next week will tell us everything. 22 laps, 7 kilometers per lap as well. Look forward to it in Belgium. And of course, we've got more action to come on the PSGL calendar. PCF1 as well on Wednesday, Brazil. If you do want to tune in for that, I believe George Morgan and Dan Field are taking to the action, if I am not mistaken. And then F2 is on Thursday PC side. That is on at 8 p.m. And then F4 is on at 8 p.m. F3 and F5 are at 7 p.m. I think that's just done off the top of my head, so you can correct me on that.
Yes, you're correct.
Thank God for that. And then E-Series on Friday as well. Do not forget about that either.
Yes, E-Series with Nathan Richards and Joshua Griffin-Meek in the commentary box. So that's at 7 o'clock on YouTube and Twitch. PCF2 on YouTube and Twitch at 8 p.m. And so is PCF1 at 7 p.m. on Wednesday. Every other tier can be found on YouTube. So we're going to wrap things up there. But before we do, final plug of our sponsors. GT Omega for one final time. 5% off all GT Omega products by using the code PSGL at checkout. You can use the link in the description or use the command !GT Omega. There's lots of new products which are on sale right now. Make sure you check them out by going on to their Twitter page at GT Omega Racing. Sim Racing Centre, they provide setups, coaching sections, including from two-time F1 Esports champion Brendan Lee. You can use the code PSGL for 10% off all Sim Racing Centre products. I think, again, it's in the description. And you can also check the PSGL socials at Premier Sim GL on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. We're posting quite a few more shorts at the moment, so make sure you check that out. And you can also check our socials down below. But we're going to go because we're both pretty knackered after this exciting race. I've been Jess Ball, he's been James Head, and we will see you same time next week at 8 PM for PSF1 around Belgium, and it'll be on YouTube and Twitch. But we will leave you for one final time from our title sponsor, GT Omega, and our partner, Sim Racing Centre. Until then, good night. He's got the inside, Altmere is through on the left-hand side. Hooks the apex, gets on the power nicely, and that is job done. Jarno Altmere now to the last couple of corners now. His finest drive, his greatest drive, and he's done it at the Circuit of the Americas. He returns to the top step of the podium. Once again, the ghost is back. Jarno Altmere wins the US Grand Prix in a stunning Grand Prix.